Fala galera, Matheus Starling aqui na área. Hoje temos um episódio especial, nosso primeiro episódio em inglês, do lado aqui do meu brother CACÁ Barros, né? Que está aqui com a casão, né?
Prazer, mestrão, que honra estar aqui. Finalmente.
Não, mas aí você tem que voltar ainda,
não,
né?
Com certeza, a gente vai
voltar.
fazer mas é muito bom estar aqui, de verdade. Muito obrigado.
Então, aí ele hoje trouxe um convidado muito especial, diretamente do Canadá, ok? Então a gente tem aqui hoje com a gente Nick Johnston. Eu vou começar a falar inglês, tá? A gente vai ter uma legenda aqui embaixo para ele entender o que a gente está conversando. For those who might not know, Nick Johnston is one of the most expressive guitar players of his generation. And today we are going to dive into his journey, his sound, and his philosophy on music. Nick, welcome to StarlingCast. It's truly a pleasure to have you here today. I've been looking forward for this conversation.
Oh, so nice to see you.
Okay, man.
My buddy Nick.
Yeah,
Nick
man.
Johnston, welcome to StarlingCast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Beautiful place you have here. What a great room. Very comfortable, nice AC. My tour friend. Yeah. And thanks for the nice words. That's very flattering and humbling. It's very kind.
No, man,
'Cause you're a great player too.
Okay, thank you very much, man. But I was listening to your last album. You're such a great composer.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, like deep music.
Wow, thank you so
And
much.
I was listening to your first album. I think it's 2016.
2011 was the first album.
Oh, which album is from 2016?
Remarkably Human.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but like it's amazing album. But you get like evolving every year.
Yeah, yeah.
And now your songs like really deep, sometimes a little bit dark.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes I feel that maybe you're not composing the guitar, maybe another instrument. I'm right about that? Sometimes
Yeah, usually it's on a piano.
Piano?
Yeah, I find maybe you can relate, both of you. Sometimes when you're trying to write on the guitar, sometimes it'll sound very guitar.
Yeah, that's a question that I have for you. So, okay, first of all, let me just say thank you for the audience. This is the podcast episode number 2067.
Wow.
200.
267. Ok. Galera, obrigado pelo carinho de vocês. Então fiquem ligados aqui no podcast com o Nick Johnston, tá? Meu inglês está um pouquinho enferrujado aí, gente. 15 anos morando no Brasil de volta. Então, me desculpem qualquer erro aí, mas vou dar o meu melhor para entregar o máximo aqui. Vou agradecer, né, mais uma vez ao meu amigo CACÁ Barros que está aqui. Também agradecer aí a Starling Academy por estar patrocinando esse episódio. Então, vocês que querem saber mais da escola presencial do Rio de Janeiro e também da escola virtual, guitarristas de todo mundo podem estudar com a gente. Então, o QR Code está aqui. So, I have my questions, okay?
Yes,
I'm going to read a little bit.
Go on.
So, Nick, when you look back at your journey, what do you think shaped your voice the most as a player? And do you remember the moment like you stopped trying to sound like other guitar players and start to sound like yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay,
So that's a long question, a long answer, I guess.
Okay, that's cool.
You know, I guess like any young guitar player who's passionate and is really interested in doing something with all that energy they have, you know, like, wow, music and excitement. It's kind of easy to fall into a trap sometimes of trying to copy your heroes, or what are they doing? I want to do that, especially now with social media, you know, all that stuff. I grew up, you know, in a small town, very small town of maybe just a couple hundred people. Right behind our house was a farm, and it was all dirt roads and stuff, so I didn't really have anybody around. And I started playing guitar because I had a neighbor. I was 13 at the time. He moved in, and he was 14. And I'm not sure what it's like in Brazil, but in Canada, you're in public school or 8th grade, and then when you're 14, you go what's called high school.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a massive difference. You know, maybe he had...
He's a little bit different.
Yeah,
He's
had...
the same school.
No. He had he was going through puberty. You know, maybe he had a deeper voice, or he had some acne and spiky hair. I was like, whoa. And one day I heard him playing guitar through his basement window, and I was just standing on my front porch, like. And I remember listening to him, and I was kind of like, you know, in an old cartoon where they have a pie on the windowsill and floating towards the, you know. I heard, and I went over, and eventually I worked up the courage to knock on the door. That's an analog text. And I was, he came to the door, and can I come down to your basement with you? Which is a weird thing to ask somebody. But I sat down in the basement, and he gave me the guitar, and he said, just play one string. I played one string, and then I moved my finger, and the pitch went up, and it blew my mind. I didn't know that anybody could play guitar. I didn't know. I grew up listening to my dad's music, Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, all these 70s and 60s progressive rock bands. And I thought you had to be one of those guys to play music, which makes no sense.
Okay.
But I thought you had to be professional to even buy a guitar. So I got a guitar for my birthday. I begged and pleaded for it. And what I realized about the instrument was my whole life I had been looking for something to help kind of center myself. I had, as a young kid, like pretty young, I had really bad depression. I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I started to notice, I started to notice these very heavy feelings and emotions, and I didn't understand it. I still kind of don't understand it. But, dealing with that and then getting a guitar, I remember within the first week I was playing 8 hours a day. Just not for any reason, not to get better, just to like feel better, And that has been the only thing even to today, that's the whole point of this. It's not for any other reason than just to try and understand why I'm here.
So alone, you didn't have like a teacher to support you?
No, I didn't have a teacher. No.
So what did you do like for learning?
So at the time, there were a lot of guitar magazines that would put out magazines with songs in them. You could learn how to play the songs. I would go to the library, and I would take books out of the library. I would listen to my dad's albums at half speed. I just slow them down and try to learn. And by the time I was maybe 15, about a year into playing, I was in high school, and you start meeting more people with the same mindset.
Okay.
So I started to play in a band, and you just meet people. And I had a really good friend that also played guitar, and I used to go over to his house after school. I went to a Catholic school with the uniform, so I'd be in. We'd get off at school at 3 o'clock. We'd take the bus home, and until midnight, I'd be like in my uniform, just still. we'd be sitting back to back playing. I mean, it was probably terrible, but it was all I thought it needed to be. I thought that was. It doesn't need to be any more than this. And I really don't think it does, as long as you're enjoying it. But at some point, you realize, I got to pay the bills. How am I going to pay the bills with this? So then I started teaching, and that was fun for a while. I noticed I was teaching maybe too many students because I developed a bit of a back problem. I was teaching around 60 students a week, and I would be sitting. I'd be so uncomfortable by the end of the day, just like trying to sit down. Oh, that's comfortable, because your back's all messed up. And then that kind of made me not want to play when I got home as much, so I realized maybe teaching wasn't the move. And then around that time, I was about 18 at the time, I made a little demo CD on a 4-track recorder I had. This was 2005. I made this little CD, and I sent it to who was my favorite guitar player at the time. He had his mailing address on his website.
Whoa.
It was a guy named Brett Garced.
Oh, all right.
Does anybody know Brett?
Yeah.
One of the best.
Yeah,
one of the
amazing,
best.
amazing.
And I sent it to him from Canada to Australia. It probably took 10 years to get there at the time. And he actually emailed me back.
Whoa.
He did. He emailed me back, and he said, this is really cool. You're on to something. Just keep going. It reminds me of Greg Howe, because I really liked Greg Howe at the time too. He was really cool. So just hearing back from somebody that I really looked up to was very exciting, and I'd never had that before, because my parents don't play music, my brothers don't play music, my extended family, no one plays music. They don't even know my music, so I didn't have anybody that was giving me any positive reinforcement, I guess, and I didn't realize I needed that. Sometimes you need that, So when Brett responded to me, I had a little bit more confidence. I started showing this CD to a few people. So I was 18 at the time, maybe 19. And there was one guy in the city I lived nearby, and he was maybe 40 at the time, quite a bit older than me, 20 years older than me. And I gave him the CD too. I gave it to him. He's a really good player. And he listened to it and he came back the next day and he said to me, you have to make a decision what you want to do. Do you want to be the super technical shrapnel Mike Varney shredder, or do you want to make music, like melodies? Because, and I didn't even realize pretty much everything I was doing at the time was me trying to express as much technique as possible. You know, you're a teenager, you're like, oh my God. You know, anything I can do now on the instrument, I learned how to do back then. So it was still new and exciting, you know. And I remember he said to me, "Okay, I'm going to give you a task, and this is kind of good for anybody to try."
Nice.
He said, "I want you to come back with a brand new song after the weekend, with no guitar solo in it, no place for solos." And as a young kid trying to make instrumental music, how do you do that? How do you write a song without a solo?
Is it possible?
It's impossible, right? But I did it, and it completely changed how I view music. Completely changed. I started to think more about, okay, if I don't have any solos or leads, what the hell is an instrumental song? And it just became all melody, and just all harmony started to come in. And then you start working with the harmony, and you realize none of these chords in this key are expressing what I want. And then you stumble on something, and then all of a sudden, an entire side of your brain opens up. And then at that point, I bought a piano, a little keyboard, and that's kind of when everything changed. But it really started with me just being so confused about who I was and needing something to almost act as a something to center me, you know? And that's really been this whole journey of me figuring out what I can do with this, how does this make me feel, and where am I going with it? Because it's an endless journey, as you know. And at this point, I've released, I think in total with all the bands I have, somewhere 12, 13 albums or something like that. And I have another one coming out this year, another one next year. Mastodon album's coming out. It's constantly just trying to figure out who I am through music.
Now, I know that now you are working on the composition process with Mastodon. I don't know if it's already done.
It's done, yeah.
Okay, but you guys didn't release yet.
No, it'll be out, I think, this summer or maybe fall. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, we recorded the album last September. Yeah, so it's been a little while, and it was very intense and very exciting. And again, it was another fresh thing to help me try to figure everything out. And we became very close, very fast, very, very, very fast. And it's just been this kind of beautiful thing, you know. It's great.
CACÁ, if you want to ask something.
No,
okay,
go
okay.
on. I have a question, but we can do
Please.
it later.
Anybody?
No,
A tricky
okay,
question.
okay. Since we're talking about Mastodon, so how did it feel to play at the festival back at the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the
that
beginning.
is great.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. The whole thing. I mean, it was sort of this overwhelming, like heavy metal Woodstock. You know, I remember all the bands got to go in a day early to do sound check. I think it started at 10 a.m. and there was so many bands, so I think it went till midnight. The sound check.
Sorry, which festival is that one?
Back to
It was the final Ozzy Osbourne show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it happened, I think it was July 4th or 5th or something like that. Anyway, so we went in a day early. And as you're walking, I'll never forget it. It was an overcast day, of course, it's the UK. I was walking up the ramp to go into Aston Villa football stadium, walking up. And I just walked up and I could see those colors, you know, the Aston colors, with just the back to the beginning sort of like screens and artwork and in that Black Sabbath, you know, purple and black, and just seeing it in person, because it had been something we all knew about for a while. Seeing it in person and standing on that stage, just being like, oh my God. And then, you know, you can just imagine, we opened the show, so we went on first, and it was being streamed for like 6 million people, and it was 50,000 people, and we were going up there, and stage managers are running around, people are going crazy, people are screaming. It's like, oh my God. And I looked behind me, and all the bands were watching. So like Metallica and Gojira and Tool and Slayer, you name it. And Tom Morello was like, have a good show. and Aquaman, Jason Momoa, he was the MC for the night, so he was over with us, like, all right, you guys ready? And we went out. We opened the show. We went out, and it was only 15 minutes. We got to play three songs, Blood and Thunder, Black Tongue, and we covered Supernaut. And it went great. It went so great to the point where I wasn't nervous. I wasn't afraid. It was just this calm came over me, like, here we go. And then we had Danny Carey came out, Eloy Casagrande, another amazing Brazilian musician, came out, and Mario Duplanche from Gojira, and we did a drum circle, and it was this amazing, historic moment, and I'll never forget it. It was amazing.
Oh,
and then I watched Ozzy in his first with the Ozzy Osbourne band, and then with Sabbath, I watched it from side stage. I was standing next to Hetfield, and he had a cigar. I mean, he was smoking a cigar the whole time, and Tool I was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing, I guess, And it was crazy. It's still hard to believe it all happened.
Yeah.
But I'm eternally grateful to have given the chance and the trust to do to perform in one of Mastodon's sort of biggest concert. I would say Braun probably would say that was his most important concert, perhaps, of his life, just because of the implications for him.
Yeah.
He looked up to Ozzy so much, It was amazing.
Oh, nice.
So I had a question about Canadian music, but he said to me, like, man, I don't know about that.
If you're talking Canadian traditional stuff, yeah, there was one band I was actually remembering when you said that. They're an East Coast Canadian band, and this, if you ever listen to this music, you would maybe know more of the traditional Canadian. It's a band called the Rankin Family, and it's very there's like fiddles and violin, and there's usually dancing involved, and it's a whole thing. So that would be one to check out for the traditional music. Most people know Canadian rock because of Rush, maybe the Tragically Hip, if anyone's heard of that. Triumph, if anybody knows Triumph. Other bands like Loverboy.
Justin Bieber.
But a lot of hip hop too, The Weeknd and Drake, Celine Dion. Anyway, I could go on forever. It's sort of a strange thing being a Canadian musician because you're so close to the United States, but you can't work there without paperwork. It's very expensive paperwork, And in Canada, there's not a lot of opportunities because the cities are so far apart, and we only have, I don't know, 5 or 6 big cities, and this is a huge country. I think second only to the size of Russia, maybe. So most Canadians, you develop this work ethic that's so unrealistic because you're trying to do everything you can to break out of Canada and break into the United States. And that's really hard to do because the United States has so many unbelievable musicians to begin with. Why would you need me? So you develop this kind of work ethic and this hunger, and without realizing it, you become very focused and very passionate and very good because you have a standard you've set for yourself. And then by the time you've maybe gotten down to the States and you're working and touring, you can maybe see a path forward. But as far as instrumental music goes, what I do, there's not a huge sort of industry for that. We tend to kind of move outside of Canada, which is unfortunate, but we also have a very small population. I think we're around 30 million for the whole country, which is not a lot considering the size of the country. Yeah. So I think Canada still needs to find its internal music economy. And it'll happen in time. It just needs time. But I don't even worry about that stuff because we have the internet now.
That's and you have been releasing albums since like 2011, you said?
Yeah, 10 or 11, something like
So
that.
15 years. So it's not something that just happened.
No.
You are trying like hard. How internet helps you to build that audience?
Yeah. So I think when you really are trying to do something, especially something as specific as instrumental guitar music, which is so niche and so specific, you kind of have to find your people, your tribe, if you will. You find, and I was never one for, how do I say this without being rude? I was never really one for like gimmick videos or viral videos or covers or trying to get famous because of wearing a costume. Anyway, I was more interested in just being who I am. And I'm a very strange person. I know that, and I'm okay with that. And I'm even in my music. It's not super flashy. It's more melody driven. So I knew, okay, I'm not going to be, even though I can do some technical stuff, it's not something I flex all the time. I don't really like to do that a lot. I like to maybe play tasteful when I can. I try anyways. But the other secret to it is the music was for me. When I write the music and I release the music, it's music I wanted to hear. And I never expect anybody to buy anything, never expect anybody to stream anything. And I'm okay with failure. I'm totally okay with it because I've had many of those. And I'll have many more in the future too. But I think the honesty and the truth in what you're trying to get across as a musician, you will find people. It doesn't have to be a lot of them. If you find a small amount of people that are really interested in what you're doing and support you, you can kind of make a go at it. But I think it's important to develop a relationship with your fans. They are kind of aware of what you're trying to do, and I have a pretty interesting fan base. There's not a lot of them, and they're not overly vocal, but all of my albums are different, and they're willing to go along with me, which is the most rare thing, I think, because a lot of bands will put records out and then they'll change the sound. And everyone's like, what the hell? What are you doing? Go back to the old sound. For me, I put something out, and I think my fans or the people that like my music are excited to see what I'm going to do next. And I wouldn't change that for anything. That's rare. That's gold to me. And I really cherish that. And I take advantage of that. I put an album out in the summer. I started a new band with my all-time favorite drummer, Gavin Harrison, from King Crimson and Porcupine Tree and a lot of great bands. And the project's called Harrison Johnston. And what it is Gavin would give me drum loops, and I would write to his drum loops, which is a completely different method than how I write my own music. And that created some pretty cool results, very, very 70s prog, like Return to Forever kind of thought process. I play all the piano and keyboards and stuff. And it's like totally different. If you put that record against, it's called Early Mercy, you put that up against like Atomic Mind or Remarkably Human, it's not even close in any conceivable way. But everyone seems to be okay with it.
But did you guys tour? Haven't you had touring with this album?
No, well, Gavin and I talked about it because he's quite a bit older than me. He's in his 60s, and he's very busy with Porcupine Tree and Pineapple Thief, a bunch of projects. The idea for us is we want to do 3 albums and then tour. That way we have a lot of material to pick from. We could do an hour show, a 2-hour show, whatever. So it's more of a long-term goal. Although I'm glad we didn't decide that, because right after that I started working with Mastodon. There's no time for anything else outside of that, which I'm totally fine with.
Yes. Do you have something to say about this?
No.
Okay. I have a question about this. Thinking about your solo career, and now you work with Mastodon. How does your creative process work when it comes to composing? Is it something you're thinking about all year round, like I need to compose today? Or is just something that you have like a specific period in the time that you take to try to write something? How it works for you?
The composition side of music is what has kept me playing music. That's the only reason. I think just playing guitar for the sake of playing guitar is really fun, but there'll be days I don't even want to look at a guitar. I don't even want to think about a guitar. I love it, but some days you just need to go away, But the thing that I mainly do every single day when I get up in the morning, I get up pretty early, 6 o'clock, 5:30. Like breathing, I go right to the piano. And it's just because I just love it. I love just chasing, and usually I'll come up with something by the end of the day that I'm pretty excited about, and that'll usually be every day. Unless I'm on tour. When I'm on tour, I'm not creative at all. Okay. That's a time to just
work.
Try and focus on your mental health and your diet and exercise and having a good show. It's not about At least for me, it's not about sitting with harmony. I can actually leave that at home for a little while. Although lately, with the band, the last tour we did, there's a little mobile recording studio we bring on the road, so we'll try ideas, and that's really cool. But that's more of like a band in a room together. With Mastodon, they basically said just write stuff and we'll try it. And that's a luxury of all luxuries to a musician. Just write stuff and we'll try it. Like, how cool is that? You know? So whether it works or it doesn't. And what's great about the band is there's no hierarchy. I mean, obviously the three of them are the three pillars, of course, of the band. João and I, another wonderful Brazilian musician, João Nogueira, also known as Rasta, I believe, right?
What he plays?
He plays keyboard in the band, yeah. And he's brilliant. He's one of the few musicians I've worked with that he's got that genius quality. You know, he's just brilliant. Anyway, there's no hierarchy in the composition. It's the best idea wins, and that's how it should be. I think, you know, it's not, oh, don't say anything because he's been in the band longer, even though you might have a solution to that pre-chorus or something. It's like, just say it. Tell us. Is it? Oh, that is good. Okay, so. You know, to be heard and listened to when you already have this legacy kind of band is extremely rare. You know, like the rarest, I think. I know lots of guys that have joined bands and they don't get to even talk about writing, you know. But that's really, what's so cool about this band is, and that's why they're such an interesting band, is they're always interested in moving forward. So they're kind of different things, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to try and write like anybody else. It's like, okay, you asked me to be in the band, I'm going to do my best to be myself because that's what you were looking for. And it's worked out so great, you know, given the time and the patience and the trust, because that's really what it is. It's a lot of trust, and I don't take that lightly. You know, I put everything I have into it, and that work ethic has just been there though for so long. It's not hard for me. It's just kind of who I am now. I love, you know, it's like you just said this is your 268th episode of a podcast. That's amazing, but it's not hard for you. I bet you like doing this, and you play guitar great, and so you know everything I'm talking about, right? It's the same thing. So again, it's having the opportunity to have the expression.
What I mean, like if you sit down to have ideas every day, means that you have a lot of the ideas recorded. How do you figure out which one is better for an album?
Well, I don't finish something unless I know it's going to be okay. So I'm at a point now with where when I'm writing, I know when something doesn't have potential. Like I'll sit and that's really cool, and I'll sit with it for an hour and maybe mess around, try some guitar. I know when something is flatlined, you know, when it's just dead on. Okay, get out of here. But for the most part, now I know how to like find my way through stuff, and I have my own little tricks, and I have little things I'm always trying to do, and new approaches. So I try to. I say this to my wife all the time. You know, the feeling I get, and she's a very creative person too. She's a clothing designer, and she's also very creative. It's that same feeling when you create something out of nothing. I mean, it's not as powerful as creating life, of course, but for me, it's the closest thing. You know, I'm sitting, and I literally pulled something out of the air, and it's now a piece of music that functions and moves and has emotion in it. I don't know anything else that compares to that feeling, and if I don't have that feeling, if I miss out on that feeling for too long, maybe a couple days, I get a little crazy, and I start to really. Okay, I need that feeling back. It's like a drug addiction. You know? but while having that, it's important not to force it. So you walk this fine line of. There's this really great analogy I heard once, where it was like if you think of the muse as your date. Okay, so every night I have a date at a restaurant for a table of two, and I show up, and sometimes she shows up. She didn't show up yesterday. She's not going to show up tomorrow. I showed up. Maybe she'll show up. It's like that kind of thing. Okay. As long as you're there doing the work at some point, and the more often you're doing it, it's just a numbers game. The more often you're going to stumble on something. and I have 3 albums worth of material that it's going to come out over the next 3 years, and I'm always working like 4 or 5 years down the road, because to make a record from start to finish and release it for me usually takes 2 years, because the people I want to work with might be busy, or the album artwork might take time, or I might be busy with something else. So I'm always working. Like, I have stuff done now that you probably won't hear till 2028 or 29 or 2030, which is great, because I have time to constantly be doing work. I think I will put my final album out when I'm 2 minutes from death, you know?
So, but what about the backstage work, like emails, social media? Looks like you don't deal with that. Like, you have someone that...
No, I don't have anybody. No manager, no agent, no publicist, no any of that crap. I mean, it's good stuff to have, especially if you find somebody that you trust. But I don't really. I'm getting older, you know. I'm getting older, and the interest in filming myself and putting it on the internet often is waning a lot. I don't particularly find that enjoyable on any level. And
you never felt about that?
I used to like it a little bit more. It was exciting when it was new. I started doing it when it was new. Like, I started doing it before Instagram existed. It was just Facebook videos.
Yeah, I remember your Facebook videos.
Yeah, so it was exciting because it was a new technology, and you would get people from all over the world interested in what you're doing. And I remember, like, wow, I think the first video I put up was in 2009 or 10 or something like that. So a long time ago. And now, you know, I don't often. I might listen back to a video and I don't like the way I sound, or, you know, I hear people doing 150 takes to get a video, and it's not authentic. It doesn't, by the end of it, it doesn't sound real, and my fingers are all messed up, and my back hurts, and I'm sweaty. I mean, this is stupid. So I've more or less stopped doing that. Social media for me now is just when I think there's something interesting worth sharing, whether it's a picture or a tour or something. I'll share that, but I'm not gonna spend my day. I feel I have a personality type that would be better spent doing something else, and I like to spend most of my time with my wife and my cat, and making videos takes away from that. But I also have this other program I do. It's called Homework, and I started it December 2019, right before the pandemic. And I do a weekly episode of this kind of homework challenge. I do on my Patreon. I'm at week 280 or something like that. It's gone from every week to maybe every other, once a month, whatever I can do. That's kind of the only social media I do. But it's not even that public. It's kind of more... but with all that being said, I wouldn't be here without it, you know? And I wouldn't be able to promote without it. I don't have a label, so they're not going to do anything for me. So, you know, you weigh it. You weigh the options. You take the good with the bad. And I'm just glad social media is free. And that people are still interested to see what I have to say when I do post. So that's... And I think that will change, too. As I get older, I'll maybe back away from it even more. And I'll be okay with that.
How old are you?
38.
38
years old, yeah.
New.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, Nick, you said that the Mastodon guys, they said to you, like, be yourself. Did you have to change something? Like, I don't know, maybe your guitar tone, the amp seam, like your small things, like, I don't know, your strings, your outfit.
Sure,
like
sure.
They say to you, like, oh, you always have to wear black.
Sure.
Or, you know,
Sure, yeah.
or
I
the
can
color
talk,
of your
yeah,
guitar.
I can talk a bit about that, yeah. The only thing... Okay, so strings were tuned differently. They're in D standard, or drop C or drop A, so it gets pretty floppy. So the string gauge has gone up. I can't remember what I'm using, to be honest with you. Maybe a 12. I can't remember. I can't.
12?
Yeah, I can't remember. But it's tuned down a whole step, so it feels a little bit slinkier. No, I mean, you got common sense. Like, I'm not gonna go up on stage with a tie-dye shirt on and a long toque with like a kilt on. I don't know. You know what to do. You know. And they'll tell you if you look silly, like, what are you doing? But I usually wear the same thing most days anyways. I just wear cheap Dickies pants and a t-shirt where I cut the sleeves off because it's hot up there, you know. I was wearing a hat for a while to keep the sweat out of my eyes, but we're doing more outdoor shows now, so I just let my hair go flying. And that's cool. Tone-wise, pretty much the same sound I've always used. Bill helped me maybe shape it to be a little more to what the band's looking for. I don't use any pedals. I pretty much plug straight into an amp. I have a tuner.
No effects?
No
Not
effects.
at all?
No reverb, nothing. Dry as a bone. I don't want to muddy things. You know, and when you have a good monitor engineer and a good front of house engineer, they'll add everything on their own anyways. And I let them kind of control that because they're the pros on that. I just stand there and try to do my best. I try to play Brent's solos. You know, I try to do my best. For the first while in the band, I was kind of just feeling it out and doing whatever, and they were cool with that. But you know, I want to continue his legacy by doing as best I can with his material. I can't sing like Brent either, unfortunately. I wish I could. Eventually, I'll be singing too. But no, I mean, they're such sweet guys. We're all. So I grew up in Toronto, and they grew up just over the border in Buffalo, Rochester, New York, just over the border. So we all kind of come from the same place, similar background in that respect. Just hardworking guys that just want to do a good job, no drama. And if they did want me to change something, I'll change. I can adapt.
Nice.
And how these guys have found you?
I don't know. I really don't know. No, I believe the whole story is kind of confusing, but I'll keep it brief. I met Ron, the drummer in the band, a long time ago through a friend of mine, and he had heard some of my music, I think, and a lot of my records have these really great drummers on them. I'm very lucky to have worked with some amazing drummers, and I think he might have heard my music because of the drummers that were on the record.
Okay.
And that's pretty cool. I think the one record he heard was called Wide Eyes in the Dark. Pardon me.
Okay. No.
And Benny Greb, the drummer from Germany, plays on that, and he's just this unbelievable drummer. I had Marco Miniman on an album. I had Thomas Lang. Actually, those are all Germans, aren't they? And then Gavin Harrison, Aaron Starling, who's a Nashville guy, and I think as a drummer, maybe just as a fan of drums, hearing what these guys can do, and then the composition folded into it, may have sparked something, you know. But I don't know. I think maybe again I can thank social media for that.
But, did you get a call? Like they call you?
I did get a call. Yeah, I did get a call. Yeah, I was recording some music and I got a phone call. Yeah, I was in the studio that day I was making that Gavin Harrison record actually, and I had a chat.
How was the call?
Well, I don't want to say too much because
yeah?
I can't say too much, but it was great. It was great. Yeah,
Okay.
it was great. It's great.
So now you have 2 years together?
I started playing with them in the first tour we did was May of last year, so it hasn't quite been a year yet.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a tour with Periphery, opened the tour, and then we played, and then Coheed in Cambria. Do you know that band? Big American kind of metal
You know
band.
that
I don't know. No,
Coheed.
He knows.
Anyways, yeah, they're very popular in that scene. They're quite big. So it was a great first experience. You know, it was arenas and just kind of understanding how to play on a stage that big every night, and understanding. I mean, it's such a heavy thing being in a band like that emotionally because of what's happened in the band too. So you know, you just trying to understand everything and wrap your head around it.
And I saw a video of you saying that you were more like a clinic guy.
I have been doing a lot of that.
And then
yeah.
there's a turning point when you started playing for a huge audience. How do you feel about that? You're nervous on the first time you play like Mastodon.
Well, I remember right before I went on the first show, right before we got on stage, Troy, the bass player, said to me, he came up, he grabbed me by the shoulder, and he was just like, "Don't worry about anything. Just have fun. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Just have fun." And thankfully, I don't know if I might have made a mistake, but I probably did. But just getting that confidence, right before you go on stage, by the guy who's the front man of the band it's not him looking back at me and going, "If you screw up, you're gone." Like it was like just have fun, and this will get better every night. That's how great is that? That's so lovely. It's so warm to hear that. It's such a rare thing to hear that, when most things are often in a professional at that level are driven by fear or a little bit of anger or insecurity. This was driven by, let's do the best we can, and I know it's your first show, so it's okay if it doesn't go perfect. But of course, I wanted it to go perfect, and it's true though, because so Mastodon is very interesting. We have this very big video wall that's playing this incredible movie, essentially synced up to every song we play. It's all hand drawn graphics. It's mind blowing, like truly mind blowing. And then we have lasers, and then we have a big drum kit. Braun just playing super hard, singing. Troy singing. Big distorted bass tone. Bill's guitar sound is enormous. Joan's playing the organ, and then I play. So even if you do make a little mistake, you probably won't even hear it, But it's just understanding that and understand, like, what do I do with my arms? Like, how do I pose? Where do I stand? It was all new for me. It was all brand new for me. I'd done a bunch of touring on my own as an instrumental band, usually just a 3-piece or a 4-piece. And I'd stand in the middle and play my songs and do that. And I'd get through it. And I never really enjoyed it because I never really felt I had a good sound. I never had the budget to have the right team of people. I never had a tech. There's never a tour manager. So it was always a compromise. And it sort of got me to a point where I just didn't enjoy it. I really didn't enjoy it. So when I would go out on the road doing guitar clinics for Schecter, it was so fresh and so exciting. And it was kind of in a time in the industry when that really wasn't a thing. Guitar clinics had kind of died. The companies weren't putting budget together for that. They would rather have you make a social media video and get views, right? But there's something's missing to have the person. Do you remember the first concert you saw with a guitar? What was it?
Oh.
Can you both remember what it was?
The first one?
Yeah, what was it?
I remember mine. It was from a Brazilian band called Oficina G3.
Okay,
so you saw a guitar live. I
Yeah.
spilled water on myself. Shout out to you. What about you? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. My first concert seeing electric guitar, like in front of me, was G3.
Okay.
Is Yngwie Malmsteen. Yngwie came out first.
Oh.
So what I'm saying is, oh, chills thinking about it. There's a difference from watching somebody on the internet play, because you don't really understand. Like, okay, it could be real, it could be fake, it could be sped up, whatever. I'm not here to talk about that. But there's a different thing from that to seeing somebody in front of you, plugged into an amplifier, playing guitar. It's so jarring when you see somebody playing so well in front of you. You can't believe it at first, I went and saw Pat Metheny last year in Toronto doing an acoustic tour, and just, again, seeing him. This is November, so I just saw him do this. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing, and the fact that I got to see it in person. So anyway, point being, I found that the clinic stuff was so cool because I would get to go up in front of people and talk and play these instruments and demonstrate stuff. It was so satisfying, as opposed to going up and playing an instrumental show where I didn't have a sound I liked and I was just improvising all the time and messing around. I seemed to derive more pleasure out of that hybrid sort of teaching and playing kind of thing. Plus, I had a guitar that had come out and it was doing very well, and the momentum was there. And Schecter as a company is so forward thinking that that's a thing they enjoy doing. In fact, I'm here with Ryan. He's the international man at Schecter, and he goes on the road meeting with all the companies and dealers and distributors, and I get to go with him, and I get to go play guitar, and it's been a very cool way of of going through my 30s and my latter 20s. So it's kind of like I have that, which is wonderful. I'm releasing music, and now I get to play in this band, and I get to work in a band with Gavin. So I feel like my cup is overflowing right now, you know. And on top of that, you know, I have a nice home life, and I can be very quiet when I want to be. So it's kind of this whole thing. But I mean, I'll never forget even going to my first clinic I went and saw. It was Billy Sheehan,
Yeah.
right? And I was pretty young, and as a guitar player, going to see a bass player, because he's kind of like a guitar bass player, you know, and watching him play in front of people and then talk about what he's doing. I was like, that looks so fun, and it looks so satisfying. And he was funny. He was telling jokes. So I was like, I want to do that one day. And then that became my job. And I've got to see the world many, many times over. I've been just about everywhere because of it. And it's a strange side of the industry that not many people know. Like, I know who distributes Schecter in Germany. I know what factories we use. I know how the pickups are made. I know so much about the behind the curtain side of the industry because of that. And now I know the other side as well. So it's kind of like this little skill set I have. And you know what else is really interesting about the guitar clinic stuff, and this is maybe the most important thing, is, you know, when you meet people and they have maybe they're stubborn about a lot of stuff, and they have a very specific opinion about maybe certain things, that you go, why does that matter? I've gotten to see the world and get perspective on a lot of stuff, and when I go home, I have a different view of Canada. I have a different view of where I live. Maybe I'm more grateful because I've seen other things, or now I meet people that are different, and I in a position maybe I'm uncomfortable, but I learned to be comfortable in uncomfortable. That has made me such a better person. The side effect of doing these guitar clinics all over the world is you develop this patience and an empathy for people. You start to realize people drove 5 hours to come see you play, and they want to take a picture with you. You just develop all these sensitivities for somebody who's always very, very sensitive. And I'm so grateful to have even had the chance to, you know, you might be in a country where you're uncomfortable, or you might be suffering a little bit, or you're sick. I've been on tour way too many times where I've had either COVID or some deathly illness where you want nothing but to go home to your bed, but it makes you stronger. Maybe not like stronger, but just it makes you feel like, okay, I can do this. And that's something I think we all struggle with. I struggle with it. So it's kind of it's more than just playing guitar.
But do you see yourself like going on the behind the curtains to work as not as only as a musician, maybe doing something else? Do you see yourself doing something like that?
Maybe one day. Maybe when well, put it this way, I in the position I'm in right now, playing in the band and working with some of my other friends, I'd like to do that as long as possible. I know nothing is forever, of course. Everything changes. So maybe when I'm older, I'd like to have a little studio, like a nice little studio where I can just help people make music. I like writing with people more now than often writing on my own. I find the communal aspect of music where the best idea wins, and you know that energy where what was that? Oh my god! And the next part of the song, let's try that. I have a really good friend of mine. He plays in a band in Canada that's getting a lot of attention right now. They're called Crownlands, and they're sort of like a cross of Led Zeppelin and Rush and Genesis. I know it's strange, but it's awesome. Anyway, so I'm working on music with him. We're just doing a little fun project. Just because it feels good, you know. It's not about money. It's not about optics or anything. It's just how do I want to spend my time while I'm healthy. That's really all it is, you know. And right now it's trying to pull the freshest stuff I can out of the air, or you know when we're hanging out, just connecting with you, or listening to you play and being like, oh, like you played some line in that. I heard you playing that. I was like, I'm gonna steal that. Like that's a cool thing. You know, I still have that curiosity. But maybe when I'm older, the road won't be as appealing. I want to stay with the cat. And
How many cats? One?
just one right now. We're gonna
man,
get a
one
couple. Yeah,
cat.
yeah. Well, it was my wife's cat, and then I joined the family, their family, and maybe one day we'll have more. But I've also, I don't know, I've thought about all sorts of stuff that has nothing to do with music. You know, all sorts of stuff. You know, music's very important to me, but it doesn't define me. You know, I'm interested in a lot of stuff. I like writing little short stories, and I'd love to write a full novel one day. That's my big dream. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just releasing my book now.
Great. Good for you, man. Good for you.
I like to write as well.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Very
exciting.
In Brazil, we say that for you to die, you need to like plant a tree. What else?
Have a son
and
write a book.
Write a book. Yeah.
Nice. That's the big three. The big Brazilian three. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question about you are left-handed.
Yeah.
You know, you have a fun story about left-handed because his dad, I think he said that, oh, there's no guitar for left-handed.
Yeah. Well, it was my mom, I think she said. You know, I was so young, I wanted to play guitar. And the reason why they said that, I think, too, was because I had never stuck with anything long enough. And I was young, and I was pretty young when I asked for a guitar. And they're like, oh, I don't think they make them for you. So I went, okay. And then went on with my life.
But you play as a right-handed guy.
Yeah, I play like this. Yeah, exactly.
So what kind of challenges or even advantage has that brought to your playing?
I never even thought to play this. This would never feel comfortable. Even doing this feels ridiculous, but this feels. It just doesn't feel comfortable. It was always the natural way I picked up a guitar. You know that neighbor I told you about. That was the first actual guitar I ever played, and it was a right-handed guitar, and it felt just fine. I never had to flip it over. Advantages? I don't know if there's any advantages. My picking hand's really terrible. My left hand seems to have some strength in it.
Oh, come on.
But the main thing I think is when you're aware of your sort of shortcomings as a musician, it creates sort of new opportunities to get around that. You know, a lot of the lines I like to play, or the way I think about it, or I pick with my middle finger and pick, just to compensate for the lack of coordination between my hands. I don't know. I think it's impossible to say really, because I don't know the other side of the coin. But I do know that I've had all sorts of problems with both my hands. You know, I've had tendonitis and repetitive stress injuries. I've had all sorts of problems. So I don't know if there's any advantage to either side. I just think this is the natural way to play, and I don't know any other way.
There's a lot of left-handed, like Kiko Loureiro is left-handed.
Kiko is left-handed. I heard that Ladi Basile is left-handed as well. I'm not sure, but I heard it. And who else? I don't know, but now the names that come to mind, but there are a lot of left-handeds.
I'm sure you could pull up a list. It would be a pretty amazing list. I think you'd see some names on there. You go, whoa.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So no advantage.
I don't know because I don't know the other way, so I don't know.
Do you think most guitar players focus too much on technique and not enough on music?
Man, you know, and my honest opinion about that is I genuinely don't care. I don't think about that. I don't look at a musician and go, oh, that guy needs to really write more. I see a guy playing guitar and he's like really excited and he's doing his thing. Good for you.
But I mean, as a teacher, maybe you're looking for a student that is too much on technique, and maybe you want to say something like try to create melodies or compose something.
No, I don't do that at all. I think when I was teaching, the thing that got, okay, so you teach a lot too?
Yeah.
Do you teach a lot too? Maybe you can agree, maybe you won't agree with this. The only thing that matters to me as a teacher having a student is that the student is interested in being in the room. I don't care if he's holding the guitar upside down or, okay, we'll fix that. It's no problem. But you see him excited, because the excitement is more important than the sheer sort of like the chase of technique, and the fact that you're in this room and maybe you can just play a couple power chords. I can do something with that. You know, we can stay excited together, and I can watch where you want to go. If you're a great technician, and because there's some great technicians that we all know that can't write to save their lives, but who cares? You know, that's not what they want to do too. If someone's gonna sit there and work on technique, it's because that's what they want to do. Music, I think it captures you in different ways. Again, because I was looking for a way to feel good, I just have to create. I have to. If I don't, then I don't know why I'm doing this, because this can't be the end of it. It can't just be about that. But if that's what your thing is, great. I would rather have a young student in there who's interested in learning how to alternate pick against a metronome than somebody who's in there against their will, that was super interested in music or whatever. I'd rather have just the kid who's happy to be there. And I've gone through many phases of that in my life. Like when I was younger, all I wanted was technique. And if somebody said to me, that's not what you should do, I probably would have thought of them as an idiot. Like, don't tell me like, you don't know anything about technique, right? It's not until you get older. You know, I had that guy say to me, try to write a song without a solo in it. That's the right way to maybe present that, because it's a challenge. It's not, this is what you should be doing. It was more like, hey, this is really cool, but why don't you try doing that? And you look at that and you go, I think I can do that. And then you build up this new confidence. You know, I mean, it's so much about confidence. At least where I'm from in the West, I'm not sure what it's like down here. Maybe you guys have a better culture about it, but there's a lot of fear in music and what people are going to think of me, and are they going to laugh at me if I play, or I'm not good enough, or if I make a mistake I'm going to get made fun of. Is that similar down here, or is that different?
Sure.
Okay, so maybe that's the whole world. I think that's got to go. That's the thing I would want to teach more than anything is developing confidence, I think. Yeah.
You know, I went to Berklee College of Music.
So you know then.
Your audience is your teacher and your other students.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
The worst audience in the world. Yeah.
I think everybody. We're human. We're so complicated that some people, you know, from day to day, you want different stuff. You know, I want to sound like him, or I want to write this. It's just whatever you can do to still pick up the instrument and be excited. That's
I mean,
it.
like, you play much better when you are having fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I mean, you could argue that there's some amazing jazz musicians and amazing musicians were born out of getting a stool thrown at them if they played the wrong note. But that's not I don't want to be there. I'd rather just play a G to D. I was in a band for a little while where I got hired to be in this very famous Canadian band. I'm not going to say too much about it. But you guys ever see that movie Whiplash?
Yeah.
You know, where he gets
With
yelled
the
at?
drummer,
I had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that.
On the band.
Yeah, so I was playing some stuff, and the MD, the musical director, just screaming and berating, and the rest of the band was all like, because they had all had their turn. And it was my turn now, and I got through. It was, whatever, it's fine, but it's just like that's stupid, and that's actually why I stopped playing sports when I was a kid. I played hockey for, I don't know, most of my life as a Canadian. You have to, when you're born as a Canadian, you have to sign in blood that you're going to play hockey, you know? And I remember by the time I was, 16, 17, I was at a pretty high level, and the coaches would throw stuff, they'd flip tables, and they'd if you didn't play great. So I'm like, what is this? I'm done with this. So I left that, and, you know, I don't want to be put in a position where, you know, I'm being screamed at. I'm an adult. fuck off. Like, get out of here. Be nice.
Uh-huh.
So I think the fear thing, as a teacher or as a mentor, if I could be, but maybe I try to strip some of that away. You know, I've never seen anybody play great under those conditions personally. So
Yeah, for sure. So you have your own signature guitar. You can talk about this
Sure.
now. I think it's a huge milestone for any player. Yeah. How did that relationship with the brand first come about?
Oh, congratulations on your guitar as well.
Okay, thank you
very
very
nice.
much. And it's similar like this one.
Yeah.
It's like a humbucker and two
Yeah,
singles.
yours is very nice. Yeah, I started working with Schecter in 2014. I was playing another brand in this shape, and I was looking to, because I was so new. I only had a little bit of experience, a couple albums. I was looking for an opportunity to maybe grow with a company. You know, it's so important as a young instrumental guitar player with no money to try and find a brand to work with, maybe for some support, not necessarily as a trophy or anything, but just to find people that are maybe gonna understand what you're doing and they get it. And at the time, if I may say this, it was 2014. In the instrumental guitar, the sort of more modern scene, there was nobody playing single coil pickups. There was nobody playing an S-type guitar that I can think of, at least that I was aware of as a younger guy. Everybody was playing a John Petrucci guitar or an Axis. You know, they had a very specific sound.
Okay.
And I was sort of doing the opposite of that, not by choice. It was just, that's all I knew. I was more the vintage guy in a modern world. And at the time, Schecter was kind of known for, I guess, the bread and butter of Schecter's, those more sort of extreme shapes, the Damians and the Omens and the
Avengers.
all that stuff, the more heavy kind of stuff. And that's not really the music I listened to or played, so I just didn't think Schecter was maybe a company that I would use or that was for me. However, there were two artists at Schecter that were doing very well, and they were sort of the poster boys, I suppose. One was Keith Merrow and Jeff Loomis, who's no longer obviously a Schecter artist, but they were taking note of what I was doing, and they asked me, "Who are you working with? Do you have any? Are you endorsed by anybody?" I said, "No." So they put me in touch with Schecter, and at the time, Schecter was sort of not rebooting, but trying to rebuild up their custom shop. And the custom shop was more of the traditional shapes that Schecter, when they were, Sunset Custom back in the 70s, doing more like this type of stuff.
Okay.
So they were kind of rebooting that. And I just kind of came along at the right time. Guy playing the S-type with these vintage, single coil pickups, and there's really nothing too technologically savvy going on here. It's a piece of wood, some wires, and some metal. So I came along at the right time, and we did a clinic tour together. The first clinic tour I ever did was we went to China, and I had a guitar from Schecter that was, I still have it. It was just their stock sort of traditional, they call it.
Made in China?
No, it was a custom shop, USA,
okay.
yeah. So because that's what I was playing before. I was playing I had saved up a lot of money from teaching and playing shows, and I bought a really nice custom shop guitar from a different company. It's very, very nice. And I was afraid that no other company would be able to match it because it was so nice. It was my dream guitar. And then the guitar Schecter sent me, I left in the box for about a month, and I was too afraid to open it. I was like, oh no, this might not be what I expect it to be. And I think maybe not a month, but a couple weeks. And finally one of the guys at Schecter said, okay, that's cool, but either try it and see what you think, or just send it back. So I tried it, and it was definitely the best guitar I'd ever played. It made my guitar feel like a toy. It was so beautiful. The fretwork, the neck, the weight of the guitar. It was crazy. It was crazy. So we went on tour, and where I live, Canada is a kind of a country of extreme weather. It gets either so cold, -20, -30, whatever Celsius, or it'll get up to minus.
It's like Boston, no?
Yeah, the East Coast kind of that's
It's
and
crazy.
the humidity too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff. So yeah, very similar to
The
Boston.
sun is very hot.
Very hot, get up to 35, 40
Yeah.
degrees sometimes. Yeah. So, and that's terrible for guitars. But I remember we went to China. It was a cold climate in Canada. We went to China. It was very hot. We went to Thailand. Where did we go? China, Taiwan, maybe another place. Anyway, Southeast Asia somewhere. It was so hot. No string breaks, no tuning issues, no corrosive string. It was perfect. I couldn't believe it. So from that, they were trusting enough. Ryan, again, who's in the room with us, was trusting enough. He kind of helped me get to a point where I had the first signature model out of the custom shop. I think it was me and maybe Michael Anthony from Van Halen, the first two. I could be wrong about that. To double check that. I know I'm the first Canadian with this. So I know that for a fact. You can say that. And it started off with just this essentially replica of what I was playing, the silver one. And it went okay at first. It was okay, but then we did a model that it was this kind of green one with the dark neck, and I remember I posted it online many years ago, and it kind of exploded. It was, whoa, what's this? So then we released the Diamond Series version, and then we were going, and then it really, and now it's been 11 years.
So how many levels of guitar? Like 3 levels?
There's with this one, there's 3 now. So there was the custom shop, which is sort of your USA made, handmade guitar, CNC. But then one guy's doing all the fretwork, one guy's doing all the wiring, and so it's all handmade. Then you have the Diamond Series one, which is the entry level one, which is made in Indonesia. There's some hand detail on it, and it's all QC'd at Schecter, so it's still getting handmade love. And then this one's sort of the middle of the road. It has the USA pickups, the stainless steel frets. It's got the Wenge neck with the ebony fingerboard. So there's three levels now. If you're interested at any of the price points, and it was very important to keep the price down as much as possible because I really want a guitar that everybody can afford. There's nothing too crazy going on here. It's just well made, consistent.
This is Indonesian, you said.
This one's, this is a hybrid of the,
okay.
Exactly, yeah.
How
And that's the
much is
10th anniversary.
in Brazil?
In Brazil, it's something between like 12 and 14K.
Okay, reais in reais.
Yeah.
And then would you say the lower one was?
The lower one is something between 10 and 12.
Okay, so it starts, I don't know the pricing, but it starts down.
So you're playing for this one here in Brazil?
So this one, so here's what's really cool too, is because of the distribution of the guitar and just the kind of sheer movement now of this guitar, it's all over the world. You can kind of get it anywhere. I just picked this off the wall.
Oh.
So this is just one you can buy. And that's really important to me too. I always remember hearing these rumors of some of the big guitar players back in the day. They'd have an Ibanez, but it was built by somebody else. If you had an Ibanez signature guitar, you'd sell that, but then you had your own personal one that was made by a master builder. You put the Ibanez logo. Unfortunately, that was happening a lot.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time. Oh yeah. You'd be surprised that I'll tell you some names, and I didn't want that because that's lying. That's cheating. And if I'm gonna back this, I should be able to pick one off the wall, and this is the same one I have. So that's what that is, which is a cool thing to be able to do and a rare thing to be able to do. So now when I leave the house, I can just take a suitcase or a backpack and I get the guitar.
So what about like a regulation, something that you need to do to fit your personal way of playing? Nothing. You just pick from the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As long as it's maybe set up somewhat, maybe you can do a quick setup if you need it, if the action's too high or if the action's too low, or change the strings. But what did we do to this? We didn't do anything to this.
We just have stepped down.
Yeah,
it was sorry. I personally did that.
Oh, yeah, you did too.
Yeah, it's the only thing I did, you know?
Yeah, because we got it out of the box basically. So it was a fresh off the press.
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw you using quad cortex on stage. I
Okay.
think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So you have simplifier setup of the ears.
Okay, yeah. So I'll talk about that a little bit. So the quad cortex, I use that. I have been using that just for guitar clinics because of the simplicity. Again, I'm traveling very light. I don't have a tech. We don't have, and you know, from store to store, clinic to clinic, you could be playing in a theater and then you could be playing in a pizza place, or you could be like, it could be whatever. So you need to be adaptable, and sometimes you can't get the amp you want. You know, I'm working with Bad Cat. Do you know that brand, Bad Cat?
I know that.
Yeah. So we're gonna design an amp together, which is really cool. But right now, and hopefully, kind of wrapping it up, having the quad cortex, I go direct with it. We've been doing direct the last couple nights. It's just very, very easy for these. When I'm with the band and I have an opportunity to play what I want, I use amplifiers just because I am one of those guys. I don't think it's even close tonally. I think ultimately the analog sound for my ears is the sweet spot. That's what I grew up with listening to. Even if it's not always perfect, I like the way it feels. I like making mistakes on an amp more than I like making mistakes on the quad cortex.
Okay.
So yeah, in a perfect world, it would be amplifier, of course. But when these clinic tours are happening, it's not up. It's oftentimes it's completely out of my control, and we might be showing up 10 minutes before I have to be on stage, or 5 hours before. So it's so mercurial. It's moving all the time, you know. And yeah, over the years it's changed. Different brands and stuff.
What about Mastodon? What do you use if you play on stage?
I use. I'm going to be using the Bad Cat stuff. I
Okay.
have been using a Friedman. The Friedman. What was I using? I bought 2 BE 100 Deluxe amps, and those live in a rig. Okay, so it's really cool. We have two separate rigs. We have a U.S. rig that stays in Atlanta, and we have a European rig that lives in London. So
Okay.
So there's all my guitars. I have 7 guitars in each rig.
Whoa,
And
7.
Yeah, we do 2 backups, or so we do C standard or D standard, and I need a backup, drop C backup, drop A backup, and then I have one I mess around with.
7 in Europe, 7 in the United States.
Yeah. And then most of them are not all of them, but most of them are my personal guitars I just took and left, just because they're broken in the way I want. And then I use just a Boss tune, the TU3, the Wazacraft, the really cool, the black one. Tuning pedal, and I plug usually straight into the amp, no delay. I was using a delay. I was using an SD1, the Boss SD1, which I love that pedal, but I was finding, it depends on where we're playing. It might suck the tone out a little bit. No reverb, no delay, just because again it sometimes gets in the way. And I use the boost pedal for the solos, just the 2, channel 1, then channel 2 for the solos. And that's really all I need, But because I have a guitar tech, it's cool to try new stuff and experiment a little bit. I'm gonna get the Hot Cat 50. I'm basically gonna develop an amp with Bad Cat that can sort of handle that replacement. Instead of the Friedman, I want to use that. It's going to be more of a 100-watt kind of thing. I use 0.8 picks from Dunlop. I use NYXL strings. What else do I do? It's all wireless. 64 audio in-ears. Yeah,
So
it's pretty simple.
You all the time with ears.
Yeah, it's all ears. Yeah.
That's in Brazil we are wrestling about this, like playing with phone or without.
Yeah.
So for you that's okay playing with phone. Do you like
Yeah,
that?
I prefer it.
You prefer?
I prefer it much. It's so much safer on your ears too. I don't want any damage. It's I talked to some of my older friends, musicians who are in their maybe late 50s or 60s, and they all have tinnitus.
Yeah.
Which I don't want that. No guitar tone is worth tinnitus. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to bed at night. You know, I'm not doing that.
We talk about this in Brazil, like using or not, but we don't talk about keeping your ears.
The health.
We talk about I like it.
Doesn't matter what you like. And okay, I get it if you're playing maybe through a combo amp and you can control it a little bit more. But when you're playing, even like a club and you got a Marshall on, it's so loud. And then the worst culprit is the hi-hat or the cymbals, because it just destroy. You don't even realize your ears are dying every night. They're just dying every single night. You go back in the bus and all you can hear is that. You're like, what the?
Yeah.
So I put the inners in. I get a nice mix. I usually have myself mixed a little hotter. I'm in the center. I'll have the guitar over here, the other guitar, the drums, perfect little mix. It's maybe sometimes, I'll use the word antiseptic, if you know what I mean. It's very clean, almost too clean, but you get used to it. And you blend. We have a mic that you blend a bit of the crowd noise in, so you get a little bit more room, you know.
Okay.
But you know, for years I played with the wedges, and I just hated it so much because you're so loud, and everybody's at the volume war on stage at a point. Everyone's just trying to get louder and louder and louder, and the drummer's hitting harder, then you got to turn up, and then the mixing guy doesn't know what the hell to do, you know. So I gladly will stay on ears, yeah, for health.
So do you think that the tone comes more from the hand, maybe your mentality, than from the equipment? What do you think about that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's absolutely. There's no question. This is your musicianship. It's not this. Everything's here, and you know you're a great player, and you know that it's in the hands. We all know that. I could give you this guitar, or I could give you this guitar, and you wouldn't sound like me.
Yeah.
Remember the guy that went up first last night? He was playing one of my guitars. He sounded like a 70s guy all of a sudden. So it just has your touch and the pressure you put down on a string and your grip. And I remember when I developed my hands, like I literally remember when it happened. I'd been playing for so long, and I was probably in my mid-20s, maybe late 20s. And finally they woke up. Like the grip and the control. The journey of this instrument is so brutal sometimes. It's so hard. It's so unforgiving. It's so cruel, because you could be good on Monday and terrible on Tuesday. But you don't realize that you're developing this brain in here. It's like this. It knows it. And the technique and all that stuff, it's no longer in the front of the shop. It's in the back of the shop. You can't be thinking about it, and you just have to trust it. I'm sure you remember when your hands got strong,
sure.
right? It takes a long time. It takes a long time, but when you get it, it's you, and that's why all these guitar players sound like themselves, because they, at a certain point, they got their hands, and it really got their hands. And I know there's people that might argue with that. And that's not. The tone's not. It could be in the gear. It's not. It's just not. You could. The way I use the volume knob, the way I use the pickup selector, it's all in here, you know. The way your hands mix with your ear is the identity, I think. You know?
So, are you a guy that research about tone, maybe equipment? Do you like watching reviews on YouTube?
No, I don't do any of that. I hate all that. No, I don't do that. I'm not a gear guy. I don't have much gear at home. I have a couple of my guitars. Maybe 6 or 7 of my guitars. These beautiful instruments. A lot of them I've taken out on the road. I have some guitars in cases in the basement that they're just in the basement because I don't play them anymore. I maybe have a couple pedals that stay in a box. I don't have that itch. I have a lot of friends that have the gas, they call it, you know, gear acquisition syndrome.
Yeah.
I think I because I grew up pretty poor, not poor, but I didn't have any money, so it was never something I got into. I had a Squier Bullet was my first guitar, into a Fender Frontman 15 with reverb.
I
The
had
Frontman
one.
15R. And it was all used gear, and because my parents were like, I don't know if you're going to stick with this. And then you don't realize, as a young kid, when you're playing just a piece of crap guitar into an amp, you don't realize it's crap. It's cool. I got a guitar. Like, awesome. And then I played that guitar for a couple of years, and then I played a slightly better one for a few years. And by that point, I was 20, and I don't need a Les Paul. I don't need a custom shop. I'm just excited about the instrument. Now, when I see really nice gear and really cool gear, I don't want it. I look at it and go, that's cool. I can enjoy it from a distance, you know. I don't have a dream guitar. I don't have a holy grail guitar. I don't have. If I won the lottery, I'd buy a '59. I don't want that stuff. The more stuff I have in my house, I don't have a big place. The more stuff I have, there's less time. There's less space for me to feel comfortable and free. You know. So no, I'm not that guy. I've never been that guy.
Question.
Okay, yeah.
So, you have this model with Schecter,
Yeah.
which is an S model, but you also have the Tele model.
Yeah.
How did that came up?
Well, I used to play. Okay, so that's a good question. When I was, I guess, my late teens, I was borrowing did I have it? Or did I borrow it? I forget. I had a guitar for a little while with a Floyd Rose on it to try, and oh no, it was a Carvin. I'm sorry. I bought a Carvin guitar before they became Kiesel. I was playing this Carvin, and I was using the bar so much to the point where it was terrible. Like you play a chord, just
You know, I use the bar so much that when I'm playing a Les Paul or a Tele, I look for it.
you go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's part of your technique and your
Yeah.
feel. I was very bad at it. So I sold that guitar and I bought a Telecaster, which is the exact opposite, which is just a canoe paddle with a pickup in it, you know. And that made me rethink everything. Unfortunately, I sold that guitar to pay for my first album, to pay for the drums for the first album. But point being, the two guitars that really shaped me as a player was the S-type guitar, the Strat, and the T-type guitar, the Tele. So it only made sense to have them. You know, this guitar had done well enough, been successful enough to where I was offered, let's do another one. What do you want to do? And it was just obvious to me to do the other side of the coin. And we're doing another shape right now. I can't say too much about it, but it'll be out. I'll have it in a couple months. We're doing another.
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah,
If there's-
and I wanted
there will be a new one.
I wanted a different shape that I can also use with the band. So I'll have a pointy guitar. You'll see.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You can show the guitar in the camera.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Maybe you can talk about the
Of
hardware. or
course,
something.
yeah. So
For
this
this camera here.
This one here, okay. This is the 10th anniversary in a lovely atomic saffron. And as you can see, maybe not the camera, but there's a little bit of a metallic sparkle in it. So my original guitars, I don't know if there's one in here, they're more the flat paint, like the ice cream old car colors, which I love. I love that line. But we kind of did all those, and then I wanted to do more of a metallic thing. So it's more or less the same as my other guitar, Alder Body. This is the first model. Fans have been or guitar buyers have been very adamant that I put stainless steel frets on it, even though I don't know why. I have no idea why. I've never had a problem with any, but people like the stainless steel, so let's go for it. Locking tuning heads, you can see I hesitate to call it my signature look, but it kind of is, the Wenge neck with the ebony fingerboard. When I was first invited down to the Schecter custom shop to build a model, they said, pick anything you want. Anything you want off the wall. And I went into the shop and I looked at all these necks that were on the wall, and there's this beautiful, bird's eye and flame, like crazy flame, purple heart, and all this stuff. And then I saw this Wenge neck, and it was just this neck by itself. And I'd only really known Wenge as a bass, like Warwick would use it for basses and that kind of low end thing, because it's like that natural hardwood. And I saw the neck, and it really spoke to me. I don't know anything about tone woods. If I'm being honest with you, I don't hear a difference with tone woods. I don't have the ear for that. I just thought it looked really cool. I thought it looked really awesome. You know, that's another thing about guitar too that's so weird is sometimes just something that looks cool makes you want to play it more. So so that's been a staple for the 11 years. Alder body.
But do you know the specifications about the pickups or?
Oh yeah. So these are my pickups as well. I'd always used really low output pickups my whole life. I like the headroom and I like
Yeah, I like
the
it
hit a
too.
little,
Yeah, I prefer. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I could tell when you're playing, you got that same touch.
Yeah, it's like the 70s.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we had developed pickups, a single coil set. I think they're just called the Nick Johnston Atom Buckers or Atomics, something like that. I forget. And then this was the Atom Bucker. The idea was just the lower output and custom shop, hand wound pickup. Nothing too crazy, but again, consistency. And I was using a different brand's pickups. There's only 2 big brands, so you can imagine it's one or the other. One or the other. I was using there, and I found a lot of their single coils sounded kind of nasally like that, that mid-rangey honk. So all I really did was I just ripped that out. Let's get that out of here. And to me, it's my favorite pickup because I got to design it the way I like. I like simple. I like simple and no stress and an old technology. I don't need any crazy new stuff. There's new stuff out there. So it's really it's a take on the original guitar, just a couple updated appointments, and it comes in 3 colors, which I'm so happy about. This color, there's the purple one and the original green one. They look beautiful. 25.5 inch, 14-inch radius. That's about it. You know, that's about it.
I think it's beautiful. I mean, like the
Headstock.
the headstock,
Yeah.
the same, almost the same color.
Yeah, I really like
as the
that
neck.
too. Yeah, I really like that too. It's worked. You know, I didn't change much from the beginning because I found what I was looking for. You know, and that's about it.
And what about how high do you use the guitar? How do you think about that? Like,
Yeah, that's a good question. That's an important question because there's a balance. There's a balance to be struck. I don't play too high. I don't play too low.
and you never change playing for Mastodon. You play the same way.
Same way.
You don't have that kind of. I mean,
No.
you need to put the guitar.
Yeah,
on
because
on
I
the
have
knees.
that.
Oh, you have that?
Yeah, when I play pop stuff, I
Right.
put
Because
all the
are you
way
playing?
down, you know?
Are you playing solos in that band ever? or-
Not that much. So
So
just-
you can do that, yeah.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, it's the music this band plays. Bill plays pretty low, but he's got a lot of pointy guitars that when you
Okay.
they play better when they're low sometimes because
Uh-huh.
the neck's up here. Whereas this is kind of more straight across. If it's too low, I can't wrap around and some of these parts are pretty tricky. You know, a lot of odd time stuff and riffing into solos, into fast picking, into harmony parts. If it's too low, I mean, it's just too low. I hate playing when that happens because
Oh,
I
yeah.
developed when I was younger. I developed tendonitis in my wrist, and I have diabetes. So if there's higher sugar in my blood, you know, you can over time destroy the nerve endings in your wrist because there's too much sugar literally grinding against your nerves.
Affects the way you play.
It could if you don't
Okay.
treat it properly. So I try to just avoid any undue pinching or
Yeah.
I stretch a lot. And I don't pick the guitar and start slow and slow, and I warm my hands up. Contrary to what I said yesterday, where you're like, "Aren't you gonna warm up?" I was like, I'm good. But you know, I play it at a height that I guess is comfortable, and I don't know. I'm 6'2", so whatever. Yeah, this feels good. Cool.
So for you, it's about comfortable.
Oh yeah.
Being
Oh yeah.
comfortable. Okay.
Yeah. Not, you know, this isn't. You know, people play it up high. That's not comfortable either. When it's up too high, because then you're like doing this weird neck thing. It's gotta be, yeah. It's a feeling.
So what about you? You said that you.
So yeah, when I play easy stuff, I like to let it
Sure,
low, you know,
sure, yeah.
because of the looks, and
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. But when I'm playing like my instrumental stuff, then I
Yeah.
put here
Yeah.
this high,
It's-
so I can like play much easier.
It's
you know?
yeah, it's such a funny thing. Genre to genre, the guitar height changes. you know?
Yeah. That's it.
So, can you give a piece of advice for young musicians? I mean, like in Brazil, it's so hard to be a musician, like to live in as a musician. I don't
Yeah.
know how hard it is to be a musician in Canada, but I think you can imagine that Brazil is a little bit different. I mean, like it's hard to be an artist here. So, you are 38 years old. You have been for so many things. What kind of advice can you give for a young musician that wants to be a professional?
Right. First, I'm curious. First of all, what is I pardon my ignorance. What makes it difficult to be a musician in Brazil?
I mean, like it's hard to make money.
Oh, to make money.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fair. I think that's the same everywhere. I think so. I mean, it's probably different country to country. Put it this way: my family, not my mother and father, but the rest of my family has never heard my music, has never come to a show, has never bought a CD, has never. So that might say some stuff right there.
No, let me add something
Sure.
just for you, just so you can have an idea
Yes.
how it works here.
Great.
You said that your first guitar was a Squire Bullet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a Fender amp. You know, here in Brazil, that would be like some guys' third or fourth guitar, maybe. You know.
Well, no,
Like-
I said that was used, so it wasn't.
Oh yeah, no, but
Yeah. I mean-
even used, you know.
This is very
it's not-
expensive in Brazil.
because
Yes, quite.
so
100 Canadian dollars would be.
Yeah.
How much
yeah,
here? How much
Because
here do you
in
think that would
Brazil,
be?
like today, it would be like 1,000, maybe more. You
I
know,
wonder what that conversion would be. $100 Canadian to Brazilian.
$100
Canadian.
It would be more or less 500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. So
This is a very expensive guitar in Brazil.
where I'm
Yeah.
from too. Where I'm from too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Canadian dollar is not as strong as the U.S. dollar either, so I understand. You know, the interesting thing about if you know getting into music, you're talking about advice. I would say avoid social media for a while. You know, if you're a young kid,
That's
let yourself
good
let your,
advice.
oh God, oh yeah, let yourself develop. Let yourself develop. And to the parents that have young kids that are putting them on social media, just let them be kids. Not that I have kids, but I see it and it's like let the kid develop. Let the kid develop until he has something to say, not just be a kid that's really good. Same thing with young musicians. Like it's okay to wait. You don't. There's time. Like you don't have to be on the internet trying to build your brand at 14. Like take your time. You know, it's better if you take your time. By the time you're ready to come out and you have things to say and you're excited about music and maybe you're
More confident about your playing.
yeah. I think that's in the long run maybe the healthy option. I know there's short-term things you can get, the instant gratification and viral. I mean, that's great too. It really is. But I think it's really awesome if you take your time and develop and play with your friends and jam and when there's something to be said, when you really believe you have something to say, then you can start, you know, building a career. But that's how I did it. I wouldn't change that. I don't like the pressure of social media. I think it messes with your head a little bit. I think it can be toxic. And you fall into a path of, oh, I haven't posted enough. What am I going to post? And then you start putting up stuff that doesn't even reflect who you are as a person. But besides social media, the main thing, if you're a young musician trying to do anything, is to find like-minded people. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I didn't come from a place where there was many opportunities to get on stage. I'd say there was no opportunities to get on stage. So you have to kind of figure out a way to do that. And that changes with every generation and every country you're in, obviously. But it just, again, it depends what you want to do, because one size does not fit all. I think every single goal is valid, and everybody has a different path they want to take. and it's finding that for yourself. You know, the mold or whatever the mold is now of, you know, doing the thing online and getting big that way, it doesn't necessarily work for everybody, even though it's like a school system. You know, you go into school and you have math, English, science, blah, blah. I did so bad in school, terribly. I only made it through school because the teachers put me through.
No.
I didn't pass anything. It's because I don't connect with that stuff. I connected with the arts more. Art 100%, music 100%, graphics 100%. But because the left side of my brain was always good. And it's the same thing with the music industry. Or how you're gonna, if the method is play on stage and go out with friends and jam. If you're an antisocial, maybe inward kid or depressed, that might not work for you. Maybe the internet's the only thing that works for you. So you got to figure out what your goals are. I think it's scary and it's complicated and it's not easy. You know, the price thing you're talking about, Brazil here, that's a definite bottleneck to have the economic problems like that, of course. But you guys have some of the best electric guitar players ever. I can think of Andre Nieri.
Yeah,
He's one of the best guitar players in the world. I think the one thing, and again, I'm sensitive to what you said. I really am. I think the one thing that matters is just developing. And when it's time to be yourself, and you know who you are, and you can feel confident in that. I don't read comments. I don't, because it's toxic stuff. But in a young mind, can be swayed by that stuff. You know, it can maybe put you in a position where, oh, I'm not good enough, or they're talking bad about me, or because that's human nature. We shouldn't be able to see all that's too much. You know, it's too much. So anyway, I would just say, time is your friend. Take advantage of that. And time is your friend.
Another thing with all these online stuff is that most of people want like to get to reach the audience by like views and, you know, likes. So they are like they want to play what the people want to see and not what they are feeling.
Totally, yeah. And I feel like you learn that sometimes too late, or you learn that it's good to learn that the hard way sometimes, but I think that the pressure you put on yourself to, I have to be, where are all my likes and where's my fault? It's too much sometimes for a young kid, you know. And when I say young kid, I even mean like a teenager. I couldn't have done it. I wouldn't have been able to handle that pressure. So if you're like me, take your time. There's nothing wrong with having. Everybody wants to be famous for some reason. I don't know why. I don't want to be famous. I've never wanted to be famous. It's so complicated, and people are talking about you all the time. I don't want that. And maybe that's the true evil with all of this, is it takes the art and it makes it this thing that eats itself, it cannibalizes itself. I just take your time. I'm rambling. Just take your time.
Do you know Alan Hoserf, the player?
Of course.
He said that he likes when no one show up on his gigs because he doesn't feel the pressure to play. That's weird, you know. He said,
heavy stuff.
I like when just 2 or 3 people only watching me.
Yeah. The genius of Alan Holdsworth is too much for us to understand.
So, man, we are going to the end of the episode. I would like to thank you for your time here with us.
A pleasure.
More than 1 hour. We didn't stop.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't even realize.
Yeah. So how can people reach you? Like Spotify?
Yeah, I think the best place to just figure out what I'm doing and what's going on is probably Instagram. It's at Nick Johnston Music. I don't post a lot of stuff, but the stuff I do post is usually news or what I'm doing or where I'm going. Spotify's great. YouTube's great. Just type in Nick Johnston guitar maybe on YouTube, and that's about it.
So you don't have a like pressure from Schecter to post more? Like
No, I don't have.
never. You
no.
never had that.
No. I think I've done. You kind of take it on as sort of an obvious thing. I'm playing this guitar. I'm recording with this guitar. Therefore, it's going to be in the pictures regardless. I'm not going to go on stage and play a different guitar, and that I don't confuse people with that. I think just over 10 plus years of consistency being seen with the guitar is, it's in people's minds perhaps. I think social media pressure with this is there, but thankfully, I suppose I'm doing an okay job with it, where they're not beating my door down, being like, post more. And I don't think that would solve anything anyways, and I really don't.
So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to talk to you. As always, my bro.
Valeu, galera. E aí, curtindo esse episódio? Foi demais? Então é isso, galera. Até o próximo StarlingCast. Deixe os comentários aqui. Compartilhem. E vai lá no direct lá do Nick Johnston. Vai lá, marca ele. Fala que você viu aqui no StarlingCast que ele vai curtir. Valeu? Abraço a todos. Deus abençoe. Tamo junto.